Hello everyone, and welcome back to Killigan's Treasure. We're the bathhouse? The bathhouse. I think that's what we were doing. I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm excited. All right, I ain't been in one of these before, but it's probably about as formal as bathing down at the river back in Redroot, and nobody else is here at least. So I'm gonna go ahead and dress appropriately. I stuffed my clothes into one of the small bins for personal belongings in case someone does come by. Then I grab a large towel and head down the hallway towards the baths. I almost reach the end and see a sign hanging across one archway that reads, "Bestial baths temporarily closed due to fur clog." Aww. Guess I'm bathing on the Skrillsy side then. I walk through one archway and see my sparring partner from earlier, already looking comfortable as she leisurely sits against the tilework. And also, missing her magical arm. "Hello, Bovolian. Over here."
Howdy.
"Have a seat. The pyronic magic that warms this bath in particular feels freshly ignited." Oh boy, she's right. I'm not used to bathing in hot water, but damn, it's so soothing.
So what happened to your... Um,
My arm.
yeah.
Oh. It's perfectly fine. I just prefer to dissipate the spell while bathing. When I don't need it, of course. My belt, however, maintains the spell for me, which is quite useful in the midst of combat. As for what happened physically, it was a casualty from my early youth on one of my very first Echo Hunter missions. It was difficult to adjust to it at first, but I'm rather grateful for it, as it set me on the path to ascertain perfection with what it can accomplish.
Good to hear you didn't let it get you down.
I start scrubbing off the gunk that's caked onto my fur for several weeks of travel. There's so much, it's starting to stain the water around me. Eliza? Yes, Eliza? Watches me as I bathe. Maybe she already got her bathing done before I got here. It's getting unnerving enough to make me stop. Oh, I don't mind. It's not every day us Skrills get to see a Bavolian in the flesh. Especially this exposed.
You could just ask, you know. Or at least give a damn how I feel about it.
Oh, my apologies. I'll consider that if the need should ever arise again, Bavolian. She turns away, tending to wash her scales instead. Oh, whatever. Now I can finally bathe without a pair of eyes on me.
You know about the pure scales, right?
Of course I do, yes.
Do you know how to get on their good side? Like, what to do, what do I have to do to say? Visit them at their own homes.
You must be joking. Simply being a Bavolian, you are already on their good side. But if you want to do something as personal as that, or even be at their side of town, you would need an entourage of at least 2 guards. However, that does make me curious. What are you hoping to attain by competing in the Athlama Summit here in Eris?
No, I just heard it back where I came from, and thought I'd see what all the fuss was about.
I ain't gonna explain my whole life story to her. I'm just gonna roll with a little white lie and see how far I can get with it. I see. And what if I win? What will you do?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Really.
So, you're an aimless Bavolian from some offshoot of the Echo Hunters whose wants to compete in the Athlema Summit for the fun of it, I'm assuming. Shit. I suppose we all have our reasons. If I were you, I would be making better use of your status, and honestly, not even associating with the likes of my brother. Anyway, it was a delight meeting you, Bavolian. I'll be returning to my band is stationed outside of Eris. She raises up from the bath and retrieves her towel, using it, and I'm guessing some kind of hydro spell to dry herself off. Damn, I really didn't think this through. Feels like she got more out of me than I did out of her. I gotta do something before she leaves.
How about you stay in town for dinner?
Dinner? I don't believe I've ever been invited to dine with a Bavolian before. All right, I'll accept your invitation.
It's gonna be at the Bird and Tail Tavern. It's where I met Mac, after all.
Ugh, there. Of all the places to dine in Eris. Fine.
Great. I'll meet you there out front, once I'm finished bathing.
She wordlessly exits, leaving me alone to my thoughts. Might as well follow up on my word and get clean. I probably ought to scrub out my delicates too. Not that I got some privacy, now that I have some privacy. It's sunset by the time we get to the tavern. Mac was surprisingly nowhere to be found after we left the bathhouse. Seems like he was down about something when I went in to talk to his sister. Did something she say get to him? Or maybe he got stressed out and wanted to get started on his reports. He's gotta be here at least. He knows I can't get back into his dorm without him. At least I hope he does. Sure enough, there he is at our usual booth. Mac's face lights up with a wide smile upon seeing me wave at him. Then immediately gets extinguished. Hey, Killigan and Eliza. So this is where you spend your free time, Maxon? And away from the academy, trapsing around with beasts. Must not be doing well with your classes if you're not focused on studying. I'm doing fine enough. I haven't flunked out yet, at least. What was that last part? I said I haven't flunked out yet. Unlike you, Elise. Elise? Oh, I didn't flunk out. I dropped out. You, of all our siblings, know that. Their lessons and curriculum are utterly meaningless. I haven't used a single thing they try to teach me out in the field. But you just didn't stay long enough. You left in the middle of a foundation semester. They started teaching me practical spells just last year. As if I have the patience to wait through that. I've been out there with my Echo Hunters band for years protecting your precious academy. All the while I've had plenty of time to perfect the arcanics and intricacies of the magic that goes into my arm. What have you learned? Primarily hydronics and arcanic spells. They've been the focus of my studies for the past 2 semesters. I see. Any spells that utilize multiple schools of magic at once? Those are typically the only ones that have practical use out in the field, you know? No. Mixing schools of magic is extremely dangerous. Elise? They can have catastrophic mental effects. Oh, they really have been sheltering you, you poor yellow belly. You've never got to be a real mage if you can't even accomplish something as simple as combining schools. I don't know if you'll graduate or not, but I do know that all those years you've spent in that academy will have been wasted. No, I'm not. I've been out there, Maxon. I know precisely what's needed and what isn't. And flunkies like you are not needed. This is getting way too heated for just a spat between siblings. I gotta mediate this somehow. What should I do? Stand up for no. Maxon. There we go.
Alright, I've heard enough. I invited you to dinner to talk more about the competition, and maybe Echo Hunter shit. Not to hear you tear into Mac for no good reason.
There's plenty good reason. He squanders our brood's resources. You wouldn't understand, beast. Bavolian or otherwise.
What's it matter to you? How Mac learns and practices his magic ain't none of your business. Plus, he's used it several times to help me out. That's a whole lot of practical use, if you ask me.
Killigan, please,
I mean, for Maria's sake, he's your own damn brother. What'd he ever do to you that's worth treating him like this?
You don't know him like I do, Bavolian. He deserves no respect for what little he's actually accomplished. If he had any shred of potential within him, he would have made a name for himself, just like I have. And I'm certain, just like you have.
Funny how you talk all high and mighty about respect, when you haven't even said my name once. Do you even remember it?
That hardly matters when deeds speak louder than words. Anyway, I'm afraid I'm going to have to decline your invitation to dinner, Bavolian, as it's likely my band is searching for me by now. Farewell. Oh, kind of girl boss, aren't they?
You alright, Mac?
I'm okay, yes. If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the dorm as soon as possible.
Yeah, sure. Let me have a bite to eat, then I'm good to head out.
I'd order up something small and chow down in no time, while Max sits slumped in the booth seat, probably deep in his thoughts. It's a silent half hour between us, but eventually I fill my belly as at least enough for tonight. Once I'm done, Mac wordlessly pays for my meal to the waitress and gets up, starting back towards the academy. Better catch up to him. It's a different atmosphere than the past couple nights once we get back to the dorm. First night was stressful, but more relaxed as we told each other our stories. Last night was even more stressful, running from Zakar and all that, but overall relieving after we asked about each other's cultures more. Tonight it feels depressing more than anything else. Practically confirmed by Mac opting to lay down curled up on his bed, facing the window.
Hey, wanna talk about the, Athlema Summit? That might help cheer you up, you know.
Maybe some other time. I'd rather lay here and process some things, if that's alright. I'm sure you want to consider how you spend your time in the upcoming week as well. Since I'll be mostly busy with graduation coursework.
Course, yeah. Let me know if you want to talk about that. Or your reports, or anything really.
Thanks.
I've only known him for a few days, but I've never seen him look so gloomy. Hope this isn't a common thing for him. I ought to lie down and think about everything going on and coming up too. A lot happened today. even with a late start. Figure I should first take off stuff I don't need to rest comfortably, since we're not going anywhere else tonight. Competing in the Athlema Summit, huh? I compared my strength with fellow beasts all the time, back at the lumberyard in Redroot. Well, before the pestilence. It was commonplace. Okay. Sorry about that. It was commonplace, sometimes even a rite of passage, to use brute strength alone to fell trees without using any tools. Some punched them down, others clawed at them until they tipped over. One guy even uprooted a small tree with his own 2 hands. Arms? Occasionally, we'd make a game out of tossing logs, but that's all it was. I was pretty good at it, at least. The fact that something like that apparently is in this competition puts that in a new context. On the other hand, I'll have an advantage for that event since I've done it before. On the other hand, on the others, I don't know how well I'll do in the other events. Sure, I can hold my own against soft-scale Skrillsy, like Elise, but against hard scales, especially if they're like a car, could go either way. Plus, there are a few other Skrillsy back at the Coliseum practicing running and jumping across sand, probably for a whole different event. Running definitely isn't my best strength, so Myra only knows how I do there. Maybe it's best I stop worrying about how well I'll do and worry about how I can train over the next few events. They'll be the real challenge. Time drifts by as I mull over what I can do while Mac's busy over the next week, and what I can do to get back my map. Maybe I should check on him since it's been about an hour or so since we got back.
Not feeling any better, Mac?
I suppose.
You suppose? Come on, you gotta give me a better answer than that. Look, whatever's bothering you, it doesn't seem like dwelling on it's helping you out. I'll do anything.
Look at this little frogger being like...
I'll keep crying. Either that or that sweat. No, you decide. Mac runs straight into me and buries his face into my chest, catching me off guard as he wraps his arms around my gut.
What? Are you okay, bud?
Oh.
No? I can't hear you. Talking into my belly like that.
He loosens his grip and wipes his face against my chest fur.
Sorry. It's just... nobody's ever stood up for me before like you did.
No. Well, it felt like the right thing to do, you know? You don't deserve having your own sister treating you like shit. Just for, plain existing.
The corners of his mouth rise even higher, shining through his waterfall of tears.
There's that smile I was looking for.
It meant so much to me. It's not just because of Elise. Nobody's ever had faith in me. Nobody's ever vouched for my magical repertoire. Everyone just sees me as an incapable mage, or just even give me a chance because I'm not as skilled as them.
Fuck 'em. Everyone learns at different speeds. No matter how... what matters most is how much of yourself you devote to it, because that determines how far you can go.
Thank you, Killigan. I really needed to hear that.
His tears gush out even more, spilling onto my soaked chest. No one's ever really taken a chance on him.
Tell you what. Once we graduate and we get my map back, how about you come along with me and see where it leads?
Really? Of course I'll come along. I'd love to adventure with someone like you.
He dives face first into my chest again, nearly knocking the wind out of me and hugging me tightly. I figure I ought to reciprocate at this point.
Easy there, bud. The way I see it, maybe you'll have an easier time learning out in the field, like your sis. Hell, you got an advantage too. You got plenty of book smarts to catch up, and get a jump on her in no time.
I thought about it like that. Oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. I promise I won't lay you down.
I gingerly rub the top of his head as he happily sobs into my chest. We're both products of our own towns kicking us to the streets and not believing in us. People who saw us as nothing more than a worthless nuisance or a deadbeat thug and tormented us relentlessly for it. But at least we got each other. We'll prove them wrong. We hug it out one more time and lay back down on the beds. Good.
Well, I think I'll end it here with that really cute scene. So I'll see you guys around.